Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Financial Freedom Friday. My name is Eric Kinley, and what I like you guys to do is I like to like the like the video, tag somebody in the video, and share it. Um, because I want to share something with you that I was having a conversation just briefly with my wife just now, and I want to share this with you. Also, I made a post in a couple of groups, some thought provoking, which I thought was thought provoking post in a group that made reference to credit. And it's just funny because a lot of people think that credit is their finances. So I want to share some information with you, um, some of my personal thoughts, some of my professional opinions, and then also just some things that's probably going to help you to look at things maybe a little bit different because life is all about perspective. So like I said, as you jump on, drop the city estate, like and share this Financial Freedom Friday. Hopefully you'll find some value in the information that I'm about to talk about. So um, bottom line is, like I said, I put some information out there in a uh, in a in a Facebook group, and I asked the question. The question was, um, do you think that if you had better credit, that you would have better finances? And that was probably about a week ago. I'm still getting some traffic on that post, and it's funny because everything that we learn, we are taught. Everything that all the way that we think, we're taught. We're programmed to think certain ways. And I just wanna ask you a question. If you thought you had better credit, would you think that your finances would be better by default? Now the true answer is no. You may think that, but the truth is just because you have good credit, that doesn't mean you have good finances or you have good financial habits. That just means that you have a good credit score. Um, but we're programmed to think that credit is everything. And I'm not saying that it's not important. But what I'm saying is that we have to start thinking outside of the box because many of us have not been taught about finance. Many of us don't understand finance, and many of us will go to bat. They will do everything they can to get better credit, but not understand that without better financial understanding and financial education, that having better credit is just a waste of time. Now, I want to go back to a time where there was no credit. Of course, it was before my age, before my time. If you ever did any research about the FICO score, the Fair Isaac Incorporation, it was founded in 1956. And I know people don't care about stuff like that. I know that's not important to a lot of people, but just understand that before the Fair Isaac and Company, before some companies started reporting how good you were on paper about paying your bills, paying your debt, and keeping your debt down, how did people get things? So I'm gonna ask the only person that can actually I'm gonna ask the only person that can actually respond right now, and that's my wife, baby. And you got to say it loud so they can hear you, right? Before people started charging things on credit cards and charge accounts, how did people will charge credit cards? Okay, because people always had some type of bartering system, or they always had some type of charge accounts or something that they would just keep notation. But before the actual credit, how did people buy things? Cash, right? So they bought things cash. And I see we got Mr. Luther, DeLoach Jones from Aiken. Thanks for jumping on, man. I appreciate it. So people bought things cash. And if you think about all the old shows that you saw coming on television, all the old stores, you go into the general store, you go to the local store, and they would take your name down. You have an account, and they probably write whatever you bought and purchased next to that account, and you can pay them on time. Most of them didn't deal with interest. That was a form of credit, but it wasn't anything being reported as far as to the credit bureaus. But people have taken it to a different level. They're taking it to a different level, and they say, you know what? Um, if I don't have good credit, I don't have good finances, and I need good credit because if I don't have good credit, I can't buy that house that I want. If I don't have good credit, I can't buy that car that I want. I can't send my kids to college because they need student loans, and I can't afford to pay for all that. So I need good credit. Well, imagine if they did away with credit. Imagine if there was no more credit. What would you do then? See, people would then be forced. They'd be forced to get their finances together. You see what I'm going? They'd be forced to get their finances together, and that means that they would be forced to understand finance, not just paying somebody to give them some numbers or an assessment or give them an opinion or what they thought things should be. Think about it. Your finances are a combination of several things, not just credit. Your finances are a combination of how well you make decisions, financial decisions, whether you put your wants before your needs or not. Whether you decide to purchase something now because you want it, or you decide to purchase it later because you really can't afford it. It's not in your budget. You know what I'm saying? Finances are based off of how well you're able to hold money, your cash flow. Somebody can get paid on Friday. Today is Friday. Somebody can get paid today on Friday, and this being the last Friday of the month of October, and this could be the last check, and they need to have that check to last them for another 2 more weeks. But their cash flow is so weak, or the spending habits, or the financial personality is so diminished that instead of them having a cash flow that's going to last them 2 weeks or more, they don't have a cash flow that's going to last them 2 days. So that means somebody's going to get paid today, and their cash flow is so weak, so lacking of the mindset and the understanding of money and finances is so bad that they're not going to have any cash flow. So by Monday they may be broke. But guess what they do have? They got a credit card, right? And they say, you know what, I can go ahead and spend my money because I got a credit card. So if something happens, I'll just use my credit card. But what if credit didn't exist? I just wanna take you to a place to where you can actually think about some things. What if credit did not exist and you could not rely on a credit card? If you couldn't go to a check cashing place to actually write a check to extend you a couple more days or a couple more weeks, if you couldn't get a signature loan or a payday loan or something, what would happen then? I just want to ask a couple questions because here's the thing: we rely so heavily upon credit to help us get things that we don't understand that credit is not our finances; it's a part of our finances. And I think because we've been conditioned so long to think that credit was our finances, that when we get educated or somebody shares some information with us, we just totally reject the information. We totally reject the information or the idea that you can be financially independent or financially stable without a good credit score. I'm not saying credit is not important, but you can be financially stable and have a good credit score. As a matter of fact, your financial stability is going to improve your credit score. Somebody's going to understand me in a little while, because when you start talking about your debt and your debt to income ratio and things like that, oftentimes is, you're right, credit has become a crutch, not something that we leverage. And thanks for jumping on, Kay. Hey, let them know where you're calling in from, where you're viewing in from, Kay, please. Credit has become a crutch, and she's right on the nail on the head with that. Instead of being leverage, we crutch. And imagine this. Imagine understanding finances so much to the point to where we keep our debt to income low. I'm talking about in the single digits. Keep our debt to income low. We keep our finances and our cash flow high, because cash flow is the amount of money that we actually have left over after we paid all of our bills and our expenses. So if you have an income of, I'm going to make this realistic, of $4,000 per month, and you have bills in excess of about $3,000 per month, then that means your monthly cash flow is $1,000. True or false? The answer is false, because there's other things that you're going to have to come up. There's no cushion. still got to pay for your incidentals. You still got to purchase groceries. You still got to buy the what ifs. You still got to be in the position to pay for the what ifs. So let's reasonably say that out of $4,000 a month in income, you have a total of $3,000 in bills and $500 in expenses. You cash flow $500. Now that's monthly. Now what happens to that $500 when you see something on sale? Do you have the money to get it, or do you say it's not in my budget? See, these are the things that we have to understand and learn about finances, because when we start looking at credit and like Kay said, using it as a crutch, what happens when credit is no longer available? Because for a lot of people, credit is not optional. So we need to engage in financial education to understand more about how finances work and how we can in turn increase our financial knowledge. And then as we're able to increase our financial knowledge, we can then increase our financial net worth. And our credit by default will start to get better. I'm talking about emergency funds, just in case something happens. I'm talking about investment accounts. I'm talking about multiple streams of income, whether it's coming in through a business, whether it's coming in through property, whether it's coming in through investments, whatever. See, those are the things that make up a good financial portfolio. And we have to stop thinking that credit is the only thing that makes up our finances. What happens if credit goes away? I don't know if you understand this or not, but the country is in debt, and it has been in debt trillions of dollars for years. And all we do as consumers is we continue to contribute to that debt, that consumer debt, that student loan debt, everything that has to do with debt. Our country has us involved in it. So what in turn happens is we have to continue to go back to work. We have to continue to go back to work. And some of us even believe in going to school to get a better degree, to get a better job. But in all that, you rarely see people saying, hey, well, how can I improve my finances? How can I increase my cash flow? How can I minimize my expenses? How can I begin to eliminate my debt? How can I lower my taxes? How can I put my family and myself in a better financial situation to where I don't have to depend on my credit? Now, my credit can be there and my credit can be good. It can be great. It can be excellent. But I don't want to use my credit unless I absolutely necessarily have to. And I'm going to save my credit for making large purchases. I'm going to save my credit to leverage it, to build wealth. See, this is Financial Freedom Friday, and a lot of people probably will not agree with this. Some will probably not even see it. They'll look at it, see the title, and whisk right by it. But I want everyone to understand that if we don't start understanding how finances work and make some time to understand financial literacy, financial education, to become financially literate, then we're going to continue to become what we are, and that's programmed. We're going to continue to accept the fact that we're in debt and that we're going to have to work until we're 65. We're going to have to work until we can't afford to go to work. And I know it sounds crazy, but most people right now that are over the age of 55 or 60, over the age of 60, most of them are going to work because they have to, because they can't afford health care. They're working until they have to, until they can get free health care or reasonably priced health care. See, we live in the wealthiest country in the world. But I believe with all my heart, this country is wealthy, is as wealthy as it is because we have been programmed. And we don't have a slew of people sharing this particular education. Wow, that's amazing. That's some information right there. We don't. I was reading what you wrote, Kay. 70. You have grandparents still paying debt. Yeah, that's something. So you got to understand. I think the reason why we're in the situation that we're in is because we're not educated, because we believe what we were taught instead of investigating and finding different and better ways to improve ourselves. Just because something worked 40 or 50 years ago doesn't mean it works now. We have to change the way we educate our children. We got to change the way we raise and rear our children. We got to change the way we think about finances, money, and wealth. We got to change the way we think about that. Because if we don't, we're going to only continue to fall into the larger percentage that is going to have to be at work, who's not building any assets, who is always, consuming and never producing. I just wanted to leave you guys with that. What if credit? What if credit didn't exist? What if credit went away? We will be forced. We will be forced to learn more about our personal finances. I hope this brought some value to somebody. I hope this made sense. I hope you're going to begin to see the reason why we need to understand our personal finances, why we need to leverage every bit of information that we have, every bit of it. And then it has to make sense to us, not just have somebody just tell you, but go out and do your own research. This information is all over social media, since that is the preferred method of communication. Information is all over social media. Do your research. Hey, my name is Eric McKinley, and like I always say, when you know better, that's when you have the ability to do better. And the only knowledge that's powerful is properly applied knowledge. Thank everybody for jumping on, doing this, liking it, sharing it, tagging somebody. And if you happen to see this again, hit a hashtag replay and contact me, contact our company, contact somebody who shares the information with you to see how you can improve your personal finances. Because it ain't just about credit, y'all. It ain't just about credit. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Guys, take care. Happy Financial Freedom Friday.